a copyright in a song or a painting or whatever lasts, which seems like a really long time, and it is. It lasts for the life of the creator plus 70 years. So clearly your heirs or your assigns are going to be having rights long after you're dead in a song or a book. Now, what often happens is early on in one's career, one assigns the copyright to a publisher, a music publisher, a book publisher, just to use two examples. So they assign their 100% share of their copyright rights to a publisher in exchange for a royalty stream or an income stream split. The copyright law now provides that 35 years after you've made a complete assignment of rights to a party, you can say, no, sorry, didn't mean it, mistake, want my copyright back. So there's a reversion possibility. And you have to go through all these notice things, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But there is the possibility of basically getting out of a deal that you never wanted. If you think about it, you're usually making those deals at your lowest point of leverage, right? You have no success, you have no track record, you have nothing, you're a beginning artist. So you get into deals that are not exactly sometimes considered fair later on. So copyright law gives you the ability to get the copyright have the copyright revert back to your ownership after 35 years. Fair use says, going back to this whole thing we talked about, the public policy of copyright law, we want to give people the incentive to create, but we want why? Because we want those works available to the society. Okay, so if we go back to those exclusive rights, the right to reproduce, et cetera, et cetera. Think about things that happen every day. Think about when your album comes out and a reviewer, should you be so lucky, is reviewing it in Billboard or in Rolling Stone. That reviewer might say, well, let me talk about some of, this songwriter is a great lyricist. Not so hot about the music, but some of the lyrics are great. And they want to give an example of what they're talking about. So they would write out one of the verses and the chorus of the song. If we go back to our exclusive rights, that person doesn't have the right to reproduce those lyrics, because by putting them in the article, that's a reproduction. Therefore, that would be a violation of copyright law. Well, we have a First Amendment and we have this public policy. We want people in the society to talk about these works of art because that contributes to the societal discussion. So the fair use exception says it's really a balancing of First Amendment rights and this monopoly that copyright gives you. So the fair use exception says in certain instances one can use a small portion of the work for certain purposes. And those purposes include for purposes of criticism, like our critic at the Rolling Stone, for purposes of education, like I might be able to publicly display, which is one of the exclusive uses. I might be able to publicly display a painting in my classroom as part of my lecture on copyright. Without this fair use exception, I wouldn't be able to display that work. So fair use is First Amendment and the monopoly. And the other big exception that people talk about under the fair use is parody. But really, when you think about parody meaning, what does it mean to parody something? Make fun of something. But so some people think of Weird Al as being a parody, but we'll talk about that in a second. But I think parody really is part of criticism. So, for instance, I shouldn't have even brought up Weird Al, because what Weird Al does is really, if you think about it, not really parody. Parody is using something and making fun of it for the purpose, usually, sometimes just to make fun of it, but really the message is a criticism of either the author or the work itself, or what the work is saying, what the message of the work is. So that is a fair use thing.